Hey guys, and what is up? It's your boy Crash Test. In fact, you already know who it fucking is. And do you remember that time when I made reviews? Of course you don't. On my last review, I said that I would either review Resistance Burning Skies and Loadout. And after that video, I've been working on a Resistance Burning Skies review, but then that video ended up getting scrapped and all the work I'd done on it got deleted, even though all the work I'd just done was recording gameplay, which was shite. So yeah, I thought I'd give the reviews another shot. The story of Resistance Burning Skies is nothing special. You play as a firefighter from New York called Tom Riley as he teams up with his partner Ellie to save his wife and child that has been abducted by the Chimera. There is also more to the plot, like this guy called Richard Gorell that's using humans to make his own Chimera. But apart from that, there's really nothing interesting in the story. The only redeeming factor about the main character, Riley, is that he's a firefighter. If you took that aspect away from him, he would be a generic-ass white man from the military, just like every other game. Now before I go on, I just want to say that the developers of this game, Nihilistic Software, are the same developers who developed the shit stain that's Call of Duty Black Ops Declassified. So there will be multiple points where I bring up Black Ops Declassified. Both games were released in 2012, with Resistance Burning Skies being released earlier in the year and Black Ops Declassified being released later in the year. So, how does it feel to control the first ever FPS game made for a handheld with dual analog sticks? In one word, decent. Moving around and aiming feels alright actually, compared to Black Ops Declassified's crappy controls. It controls just like a typical first-person shooter. As this is a Resistance game, there are a variety of weapons to use, with each gun having its own secondary ability. The game makes use of the PS Vita's gimmicks. You can double tap the back touchpad to sprint, or you can just hold down on the D-pad. You can use the touchscreen to use secondary abilities, throw grenades, and melee with Riley's firefighter axe. Although this still has the same problems that Black Ops Declassified has. If you accidentally scrub your thumb on the touchscreen, you can end up throwing a grenade or using firefighter axe when you don't want to. Since this is a Resistance game, there are a variety of enemies you must face. The most common of these enemies are the hybrids. They're pretty dumb as they will stop dead on the tracks to shoot at you. Thankfully, they aren't nearly as fucking impossible to kill like Black Ops Declassified's enemies. There's also two major bosses that look cool, but they're easy to take out. I think the game would have benefited with more bosses. The levels are pretty linear, and they get more linear as you move on. There isn't any variety in terms of gameplay, as all you'll be doing is gunning down enemies for 6 hours. I find myself getting bored playing this game, and at multiple times when I would get to the 4th level, I just quit playing because of how bored I got. There aren't much set pieces to keep things interesting, and the design of the levels aren't great, as you'll mostly be traversing through corridors filled with enemies. It doesn't help that the characters aren't engaging. The conversations they have aren't interesting. If you play this game for yourself, then I bet there's a zero chance of you having any attachment to the characters. Now, let's get on to the other stuff. This game has online multiplayer, but it's a fucking ghost town. You'll be more likely to find a full lobby on fucking Brinkland on this game. I've only managed to play a few online matches in the past, and from what I played, it's your standard multiplayer affair. There's only 3 modes: Team Deathmatch, which is, you'll know what Team Deathmatch is, Deathmatch, which is basically free-for-all, and Survival, which is basically the same as Infected from the Call of Duty games. The game is both easy and hard to platinum. It's easy because almost all the trophies can be obtained through a single playthrough of the game's campaign, but also hard as one of the trophies requires you to play a match on the multiplayer, even though the multiplayer is fucking dead. The game's visuals are worse than Black Ops Declassified, as this was made before Black Ops Declassified, and in some instances, the game looks flat out ugly. The orchestral soundtrack is a pleasure to my ears, but it's only used sparingly, and most of the time you'll be hearing your footsteps as you walk across corridors. The gunfire for most of the guns are alright, but the gunfire for the carbine sounds like popping popcorn, and this issue only gets worse in Black Ops Declassified. Overall, Resistance Burning Skies is just a basic first-person shooter that some people can enjoy, but there's nothing really exciting to grab the player and invest the player into its gameplay or story. If you're a first-person shooter fan and are looking for first-person shooters on the go, you're better off getting kills in Mercenary or getting a first-person shooter on your phone like Nova 3. If you can still find it since the Gameloft removed Nova Free from the Play Store, it might still be on the Apple App Store, but still. Well, that was Resistance Burning Skies. Not a great game, but not a terrible game anyway. Blah. So yeah, that's Resistance Burning Skies. Yes, Resistance Burning Skies. It's not Resident Evil 6. Anyway guys, thanks for watching this video. And also I still don't have an actual fucking light bulb.